Hey everyone, this is Peter Sco from Music is a Journey. Here I am, this is going to be the last episode of the year, and I'm kind of in a weird position here. This is actually Christmas Day that I'm recording this opening, and I've been locked in here in my room, my work room, for the last couple of days. I've got a sleeping bag on the floor, I've got like bags of trash. They'll be tied up all nice and tight. Because, as it turned out, I got COVID. Yeah, well, managed to avoid being sick for 3 years. I usually get a cold twice a year, and I haven't had a cold or anything for 3 years now, ever since I've been wearing masks and, sterilizing my hands everywhere I go and all that. And I thought I'd been doing really well, but my daughter got it a week or so ago, and she got over it and went back to school on the 19th. And after that, I went to work all week long, and then, just Friday at work, got really sleepy and put my head down for a moment, and when I got up again, all these sore muscles everywhere, and I thought, oh man, what's up, right? Took my temperature, nothing. But when I got home later on, took my temperature again, 38, and yes, all right, just in case, I pulled out the camping gear and parked out here on the floor, and then, next morning took the antigen test and positive, and went off to a clinic and got medicine. And it seems I'm on a waiting list to get into a hotel, because my wife thinks it's easier if I'm not here. Because as long as I'm here, the virus is here, she can't have her mom come over or anything like that, right? So, anyway, so what are we going to do for this year-end video, huh? Well, okay, so usually I like to do some albums that I picked up during the year, or I like to feature bands, at least if it's not albums from this year, it's fairly recent, but bands that are currently active. And honestly, this year I was really trying not to find lots of new stuff to get into, because every year I set up kind of budget for buying albums, and I would always go over it like way too much. And so this year I was really trying to consciously not spend too much. I think it actually started last year, but it didn't work. Anyway, of course I ended up finding other things, but it was all like I was into the 60s and into the 70s and digging up obscure albums, or just, older albums I always thought I probably should get. And the only ones I picked up this year were the ones when I heard that they were coming out, I knew I had to get them. Of course, there was Sloan, Steady. I'm never one to miss a Sloan album. I've been fans of them ever since I first heard about them back in '93, so every time they've got an album come out, I'm picking it up right away. And this is, for me, this is one of their best ones in a very long time, and I've never been disappointed with their albums, so it's cool. I picked up Anvil, Impact is Imminent, just because I kept hearing about Anvil. They had that movie out about 10, 12 years ago, and I kept thinking one day I should get another Anvil album, because I only ever had the two from way back in the 80s there. And so I got this, and that led to me picking up a few more. It's not a super brilliant album, but it sounds good, and it sounds like Anvil, and it's all right. It's all right. It's good enough. It got me into the band a little bit more. Spell, ever since I heard Opulent Decay, I've been really interested in hearing what Spell's doing. So when I heard they had an album coming out, I had to just get on the pre-order and get it right away as soon as I could. Tragic Magic. To me, not exactly as super cool as Opulent Decay was, but still really good. And after that, I went and bought their second album, so I have all 4 of them now. And what a brilliant band. I mean, they're evolving with each album and doing something really cool each time, so that's awesome. And, Babel, Who Will I Be When I Leave? Ever since I got Circle of Confusion of Tongues as a kind of gift, sample, anyway, from Melodic Revolution Records, I've always been interested in what Babel are doing. I'm in touch with Rob Williams and Karen Langley, 2 main folks behind this band. They're really nice people. Really nice. And I think I just want to mention this. Rob was way back when, the late 70s, in a band called The Fans, kind of power pop band. And The Fans actually performed here in Japan, was it about 12 years ago or something like that now? Anyway, I always expressed an interest in hearing what Rob had been doing in the early days, so he sent me this so I could hear it, and it's pretty fun stuff. So, this is not a new album, of course, but it's new to me. So that was pretty much it. Oh, and Voivod, of course, I got the new Voivod, which set off my whole Voivod video series, and many thanks to all the really kind people who've been leaving me very encouraging remarks on the Voivod ones. I'm always really pleased with all the comments people leave me. Even if you got something critical to say, I mean, I'm fine with it, right? Like, I can learn something from it. But anyway, everybody's always so nice. Thank you. And yeah, it's just been great to hear all those comments. The new Voivod album is, of course, I love it. I love Voivod. But that's it. That's all I was doing for this year. And it's not really so strange because in the past, what I'd often do is I would take a look at, for example, Prog Archives. I would take a look in January, what were the top 100 albums of the previous year, and then I would sample some of them off YouTube and pick the ones I like best, and then order some of those ones in. Of course, I got to know a lot of really cool bands that way, a lot of really great albums. So I thought, well, that's what I'm going to do this year too. And so what I've been doing, now that I've been in kind of exile here in my workroom, I've been checking out top prog albums of 2022 videos, and I've been checking out top metal albums of 2022 videos. And what I did was I made a list of all the bands that sounded like they might be interesting to me. And then I've decided that I'm going to check them all out and not just give a cursory listen, because usually I'll listen for like about 10 seconds and decide on the spot whether I'm going to be into it or not. So I'm going to check them all out and listen to at least 1 or 2 songs if possible. And then I'm going to make a list of maybe 5 from the prog list and 5 from the metal list that I'm deciding I'm going to get. I can't buy all of them. There's some of them just by the album cover art alone. I mean, look at these album covers. This is it. What is it? Immolation. What was this one? Ayrtonum. And I mean, you look at these album covers. It's just, I would buy them just for the cover, even if I didn't really like the music, because it's so beautiful. But anyway, no, I'm going to check out 5 from each list. I'm going to narrow it down to 5 from each list. I'm going to present my picks in the second half of this video. So stay tuned for that. And that might actually be, I don't know, if it's going to be from a hotel room, if I move into a hotel tomorrow, or if it's going to be here again, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's coming up. Stick around. Yeah. Well, here I am. This is home sweet home for the next few days. I have to stay here until the morning of the 31st, so this is where I'm spending the last few days of 2022. Now, as I said, I've prepared some work for myself. I'm not just going to be lying around here playing games on my smartphone or something. I've got work to do. So as I said, I went over those lists of the top picks for the best metal albums of 2022 and the best prog albums of 2022. And the list actually got really long. The ones I thought, hey, that sounds like I might be really interesting, something I want to check out. So I'm going to go over all of the albums. I'm going to check them out very carefully, because one thing I tend to do is I listen to something and think, yeah, that sounds cool, yeah. For about like 10 seconds, I decide, and maybe the album cover is really cool, and I order it, and then I listen to it once, and it's like, yeah, it was all right, yeah. And I might listen to it again, and then I kind of forget about it because something else that's more interesting to me gets my attention, and I just kind of like leave everything. It's kind of like if you're on a train and you stop at the station, you know, you can get out, go out and do something, go shopping, whatever, and then get back on the next train and go, or you can just stay on the train. And often this is what kind of like what happens. I get the CD, all right, and then move along. So I really want to take my time, because one of the problems I have is my CD collection is growing monstrously. And what you see behind me in my videos, that's just some of the CDs. Under the table, there are actually about, was it like 24, 25, 26 boxes, plastic boxes about this long that hold about 40 CDs each. And then I've also got some half boxes, plus I've got another set of drawers. It's getting ridiculous. And I often think, instead of constantly buying new stuff, why don't I go back and just listen to what I really enjoyed before, or listen to some CDs that I really didn't give much chance to, and I should just, you know, just be happy with what I have. But I'm always excited about finding something new, whether it's a brand new release or something from the past that I missed. Yeah, so I want to be really careful about what I choose. You know, I don't want to just bring home anything. So we're going to make it not 10, we're going to make it 12, because I always do 12 for my year-end videos, and I forgot about that. Okay, so that's where we're heading, and I've got a nice table here, I've got a nice chair. I'm going to work on it over the next few days. I'll keep you updated with the results of my searches. Keep watching. Phew, first shower in the last few days. Needed that. Not yet. I'll start soon. Okay, one of the first bands I want to check out, I think I'm going to start with the prog bands first, by the way, because I think this past year I've been mostly into hard rock or heavy rock, heavy metal. So I'm going to try to swing back a little bit more towards the prog direction to start off here. Anyway, so for those of you who want to see the metal results, please skip on a little bit, head down. I'll put a time frame down there on the bottom of the screen. But anyway, I want to start with this band called Lobate Scarp out of, I think it was Los Angeles. And one of the reasons why this band caught my attention when somebody mentioned it is because guitarist Peter Matukniak, who is from Solo Career, Gecko Project, Bomber Goggles, and has played with Marco Ragni, Steve Bonino. I know I've talked about him a couple of times, in the past, and so he also has played recently with Lobate Scarp, and so I'm curious to hear what their album sounds like. Also, this album here features Ryo Okumoto from Spock's Beard. Looks like Billy Sherwood is on here, John Davison, currently, I think he's still the vocalist for Yes, previously with Glass Hammer, and a lot of other guests on here too. So I'm very curious, and I want to hear what they sound like. And it does have that kind of Yes influence to it, I can hear that. Okay, so yeah, this is apparently Lobate Scarp's second album, You Have It All, and yes, this album does have Peter Matukniak on guitar. I checked it on the Bandcamp page. The first track, Conduit, was a very exciting instrumental, different keyboard solos, guitar solos, and a very interesting ending, mysterious ending, going into Nothing Wrong. So far, it's very familiar. I like what I'm hearing. I do have CDs similar to this, of course. There is that Yes influence, which, you can hear in a lot of modern prog bands. But it still does seem to have kind of its own flavor as well. This is track number 7. It's called Beautiful Light. There's actually a lyric video for this. Yeah, it's very pretty. I think I'm going to put Lobate Scarp as one of the potential picks. If I'm going to narrow it down to 6, it may or may not fit in, but I kind of feel obligated to put it in the top 6 just because Pete Matukniak has been so nice as to send me some of his own solo CDs before, so maybe I should actually buy something that he's on. Alright, Lobate Scarp are going in. I don't know if it's going to be in the final pick, but they're definitely going on there. I'll probably have to get them anyway. So next I'm checking out Marillion's album, An Hour Before It's Dark. Quite honestly, I have not really fallen into Marillion. I have Script for a Jester's Tear, which I thought was interesting, but it didn't totally grab me. And then Clutching at Straws, which came highly recommended from a friend, but I think after 1 or 2 listens, I've just abandoned it. So, every prog list for top 20 albums, top albums of 2022 mentioned this album, some of them quite up near the top, at least in the top 10s anyway. So I'm really intrigued. I've almost decided already that I'm going to buy it. I like the cover art too. I have to say that what I'm hearing so far, I really like the music. I'm just not quite sure about the vocals. Is it Mr. Hogarth, right? But yeah, I really like the way the music sounds on here. Not totally warming up to the vocals, but alright. I'm going to mark off Marillion as another potential candidate. Let's move on. So next up is Pattern Seeking Animals. If I understood this correctly, this is a kind of has some kind of relation to Spock's Beard. This album, Pattern Seeking Animals, Only Passing Through, the album name Only Passing Through, was also an album that showed up on, I think, all 3 of the lists I checked for best picks for 2022. Again, it does have a very familiar feel to it, like I have albums like this in my collection. Might also just be Ted's voice. I've got him with Spock's Beard and with, what's the other band he's in? Enchant? So his voice sounds really familiar. This is a song I Can't Stay Here Anymore. Well, I can't say that I dislike it. This... it's okay, that's so far 3 for 3. I hope this is not going to be like just the whole list. You know what? I'm just going to go through a few more albums now. I'll tell you what I've picked out by the end of it here, because otherwise this is going to be a long video of me approving everything. This is not going to be easy. I like everything. This is Elder. I don't know Elder. This is the album Innate Passage. So far sounds great. Oh dear. Wow. Jonas Lindberg. Jonas Lindberg and the Other Side. Album Miles from Nowhere. Exciting. It's beautiful music, exciting music. You know what? I think it's about time to turn in for today. I'm getting tired. I realize... Okay, this is The Tangent. I have an album by The Tangent. I like it. I actually was thinking to try to avoid buying albums of bands that I already have, because I thought I'd like to try to find something new. But I don't want to discount a good album just because I'm already familiar with the band. Does that make any sense? Alright, I've been moving down the list, and it is not everything that has grabbed me. We're still over 6 already, though. We still have a few more to go. I'm going to have to wrap it up soon. Okay, thankfully the prog list was not as long as the metal list, so I think I've covered it all nicely here now. I've got 8 albums with a black circle, 2 or 3 with a clear circle, a couple of triangles, and a few scratched off. Lobart Scape, Pattern Seeking Animals, Elder, Friend, Jonas Lindberg and the Other Side, and Evership. These are the Black Circle picks. 2 other Black Circle picks, Big Big Train and Marillion. Kind of keeping off to the side a bit because, as I said, I've never really been totally into Marillion, and listening here I wasn't still totally hot on the vocals, but the music did sound really good. And the other one, Big Big Train, I have already 3 Big Big Train albums, and while I agree the music is brilliant, the songwriting is amazing, I haven't totally found the place to get into the band yet. However, this album here, Welcome to the Planet Earth, it's of course the final recording to feature Dave Longdon on, because he passed away back in 2021 there in November. But it does sound like something I could definitely get into. So we've got 6 albums for sure. We've got 2 more that probably just going to slip in later on in the year if nothing else distracts me. And then Ryo Okamoto, his album sounded good, but sounded very familiar to what I'm familiar with already. Same with The Tangent. Probably it's good. I mean, I'm sure it is. Flower Kings, I know them. I have 6 of their albums, so it sounds good, but it's similar to what I've already heard. And Deer Hunter might not quite be. It sounds a little bit like Moon Safari to me. That's just me, but anyway. I like it, but it might be just a little bit off to the side where I'm not quite sure if I feel cool listening to it or not. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, this here is Evership. I have the first 2 albums. I missed the last 2. I love Evership. So I think that's where we're going to leave it with the prog stuff. I think I'm going to take a look at those 6 albums, and I will reconsider the other ones. And I think I'm going to call it a night now. That was a long bit of listening. Lots of fun, though. But yeah, let's tackle metal later on. far as the window opens. Good morning. Breakfast. Nice bento. So now, as it turns out, my wife and son also have a fever, and we're going to request to see if I can get back home again today, rather than staying until the end of the year. Feel a little bit like a yo-yo. Get ready to leave. Next day leave. Arrive. Hear the news. Arrange to go back, and maybe today go back again. But anyway, as long as I'm here, I got work to do, and hey, my laptop is here. Got music to listen to. So let's eat. Let's listen. By the way, when I'm done with all this here, I'm going to relist the albums that I've chosen, and I'm going to give a little bit more explanation what it was about the album that I particularly liked. So we're done with the prog section, and now we're going to move on to the metal list, which was actually almost twice as long. There were just that many more albums listed by the... It was Banger TV, where they had each of the contributing members there giving their picks. Sometimes it was just one album. One person listed 15 really quickly. So anyway, this album here, Angels Hung from the Arches of Heaven by Goatwhore. I've never listened to Goatwhore before. It was Sam Dunn on Banger TV's runner-up pick, and there was one other fellow who picked it as his favorite album. Seems to me that they are a melodic death metal band. Let's give a listen. It's quite a common thing in a lot of death metal songs. I mean, they start off with this musical introduction, and then the vocalist will come in and go, "Raw!" It's like such a common trend. It's the same as like with the kind of like bedroom R&B, where somebody has to do the "whoa, yeah" at the beginning of every song. Anyway, let's see where it goes. This is Eliminator, Ancient Light. Traditional heavy metal, British, new wave of British heavy metal style. Has a strong Iron Maiden influence in the vocals there. Really Iron Maiden-ish. This is an album by a solo artist going by the name of Black Braid for the band name. They just call it a band name, but anyway, for the music name. The artist's name, I think, looks like it's Stagasoa. Anyway, he's a Native American from the Adirondack area, I understand. Anyway, this is actually a black metal album, and it seems to have some black metal compositions, more like in the Norwegian style, but with these kind of acoustic interludes. And I gotta say, I really like how it sounds so far, and I think at least 3 people mentioned this album out of everybody who was mentioning albums, so I think this one here might be the first one on the list I think I'm really gonna want to check out. Yeah, the black metal, real black metal part of it actually does sound very familiar, but I have to say that I don't have tons of black metal in my collection. But what I have, a lot of it I find is actually very cathartic to listen to. Yeah, I think this one gets to stay on the list. It's cool. Okay, so I've been going across a couple of these more traditional type metal bands. And so far the ones I've heard, they've been really similar to already famous bands. But this here is Dreamkiller, and while it does sound familiar, I can't say that it sounds like any one particular band in my collection. Probably other people might be able to better say they sound like them or them, whatever. But so far, I like the music. It's melodic. It's heavy still, though. And I like the sound of the vocals. It doesn't sound like someone following Bruce Dickinson or following Rob Halford. A little bit more individual. Not like totally unique, but a little more individual. So this Dreamkiller album here, I think that's one I'm going to be looking into more in depth. Been moving on down through the list. I've come across some, anyway, of course, doom and stoner metal type things. I really like the sound of them, but the one thing I find is that almost everybody seems to be following the same kind of style, like very similar guitar sound, very similar riffs, and they all sound great, but it becomes difficult after a while to distinguish who's doing what, I think. So I kind of went past those a little bit, and now I'm here at Vital Spirit, which at first glance I might just say, oh, okay, sounds like another cool black metal type band. But one thing that has my interest about Vital Spirit is, well, first of all, two people mention it as a pick, but actually two of the members in Vital Spirit are members of Wormwitch from Vancouver, and I have all three Wormwitch main albums. I think they also have another album of like previously recorded demos or something, but anyway, and I really like Wormwitch, so there's that. And then there's this other aspect about this album is that some of the songs have, like, of course, this kind of intense black metal sound, but then they also have these additional parts with a very different style of music coming in. And if I can just, let me see here, go back to the previous track. I got advertising, just a moment. That wasn't it. Okay, so from the opening track, Blood and Smoke, this is how the song closes out. Yeah, that's really cool. So, I mean, you've got the intense black metal sound. I think it's not just normal black metal. It's got a bit of an extra bit to it. But, yeah, apparently some of the songs will have this kind of different flavor thrown in. Not thrown in, I mean, obviously intelligently put in. But, yeah, this is something that gets my attention. And it's not just a standard, regular type album of one particular subgenre. That's Vital Spirit. So I think I'm going to be giving them a check and then listening to them even more. Okay, this is Wilder Run. The album is Epigon. This was someone's pick for the best progressive metal album of the year. And right from the beginning, this is just the very beginning of the album, I'm already into it. Because as much as I like, you know, some of the really intense stuff in the thrash, black metal, and death metal area, I also really like beautiful acoustic music like this. Yeah, already from the start, just this first, 40 seconds or so already makes me think, what is the rest of them like? At this point, I almost don't even care. I just want to get it just for this intro. But I probably should check it out a little bit more because that's what I say. That's what I do. I hear something, I think, I like that, and I order it. I really should be a little bit more careful. But I say this one is, oh, and the album cover, I'll show that. The album cover is also really cool, so I think I'm already into it. Okay, you know what? I'm actually really starting to get excited now. I've heard quite a few albums here that make me want to go buy them right now. Even just starting to listen to them, because there are, again, aspects that are kind of new or different. There's variety. There's something that is already familiar. There's something very catchy. There's something that really gets my attention. It's just a combination of all these things. And now I'm listening to Soilwork, and I guess it's Overgivenheden, something like that. Just the opening so far. This is another album that makes me already think. I probably got to just make sure a few things. There's always things like, you know, do I like the vocals, or, you know, is it just the opening track that gets my attention? What's the rest of the album like? But so far, I've already got 7 albums off the metal list, and I had, like 8 or more off the prog list. So yeah, there's going to be some weeding down, but you'll hear my results at the end. So far, Soilwork. Like how this starts? Well, it looks like we've got some symphonic death metal on our hands here with Shadow of Intent, the album Elegy. Remind me of Septic Flesh a bit. Yeah, I really dig these really deep guttural vocals. I don't exactly have a lot of symphonic death metal in my collection. I think maybe Septic Flesh might be the only one. I can see also, I'm going to list 12 picks, but that doesn't mean I won't buy any of the other ones. I can still keep this on my to-get list, even if it doesn't make the final top 12 selection. Phew, it's been a long journey to get through this list. I haven't talked about everything that I checked out. I had stuff written on the side that I actually forgot about here. But the last video I'm checking out, this is Charlie Griffiths with his Tiktaalica album. I think I showed the album cover early on in this video here. And this video here, the Tiktaalik official video, is really interesting because it's a combination of live action of footage of Charlie and then this animated prehistoric creature here, and it's made out to look like a kid's show at first. Hi there, Charlie. Hello, Timmy. Yeah, shall we play some guitar riffs? Yeah, and then this skeleton, this prehistoric creature goes off and puts on a skin suit, and the two of them start playing guitar together. Now, Charlie Griffiths is actually with Haken, and I heard that the Haken members each went and did, I don't know if all of them, or three of them, or I'm not sure, but anyway, at least three of them went and did their own solo albums. And this is the one here, it was mentioned, I think, I don't remember if it was on the prog list or the metal list. It would fit on either of them, actually. There's a little joke here, why did the Tiktaalik cross the road? Because the chicken hadn't been invented yet. An amusing video. You should check it out anyway. Yeah, this sounds cool. And I love the album artwork too. Whether this one is actually on the top of the list, the top 12 or not, doesn't matter. I'm probably going to get it anyway. I like Haken. Well, here we are, December 31st, last day of 2022. I have been indisposed for the last few days. As you last saw, I was staying in a hotel to avoid infecting my family with COVID. However, my wife had contacted me and told me that both she and our son had also come down with a fever. And so, later that day, was it on the 27th, I returned home. And I've been at home taking care, or helping to kind of help look after things around the house anyway. So that's where that ended up. So how about this year? Okay, so first of all, before I get into my final picks, the ones I was telling you about, there are a couple of things I forgot to mention. Melodic Revolution Records, the head of it, Nick Katona, sent me a zip file of a bunch of songs that from the various artists that were released this past year here, 2022, and I unzipped it and it went somewhere in my computer and I don't know where it went. So I was really hoping to feature some of those songs as part of my last video of the year. If I find them, maybe I'll do it in one of my first videos of the new year. Martin Schnella and Melanie Lau had a new album out called Invoke the Ghosts. They are in Flaming Row and 7 Steps to the Green Door, and I've always wanted to get one of their albums, the two of them on their own. So I thought this is the one I'm going to get. Haven't got it yet. Carabao and A Tribal Treat, a re-release of one of the earliest Carabao albums that has been reworked and everything to give it an up-to-date feel. I really wanted to get that. Haven't got it yet. And there were a couple of others. Also albums that I expected to come out this year, but are actually coming out next year. Blood Ceremony have a new album. I thought it was coming out in November. Looks like it's maybe in the new year then. And Damanek coming out with their third album. Their first two I thought were really brilliant, so I'm looking forward to that. Okay, let's take a look now. My picks. All those albums I went through. Let's see here. Let's start from the prog side. Which is of course upside down. Okay, so let's see here. Starting from the prog side, Charlie Griffiths, Tiktaalik, that one there. I'm just really curious because I like Haken, and what I heard from the videos sounded really cool, nice riffs and so on, so definitely want to check that out. Love the cover art as well. Elder, Innate Passage. I thought I didn't know Elder. Apparently I've had an Elder album sitting in my standby shopping cart at Amazon for the last few years now. And not that long ago, well, okay, maybe about 8-9 months ago, a friend of mine said, hey, have you heard this band Elder? You got to check them out. And I went, oh yeah, I know that one. Anyway, I've decided to get Innate Passage and then maybe something else. Pattern Seeking Animals. Okay, sounds very familiar, but sounded good. And since I was trying to kind of avoid the familiar stuff, I decided let's just get at least one anyway. Got mentioned by at least 3 people as a top prog album of the year. Pattern Seeking Animals, Only Passing Through.
Jonas Lindberg on the other side, Miles from Nowhere. That just really sounded good. Combination of, like regular progressive rock music you'd expect, plus a strong, almost pop melodies, occasionally a bit hard rock in some places. Just had a good overall variety, lots of really interesting sounding music. Decided I have to get that one. Again, mentioned by about 3 people. 6x6, I totally forgot to mention this one. This is a project with Ian Crichton from Saga and Nigel Glockner from Saxon and one other person from somewhere. Anyway, it is an interesting album from what I heard, and I like Ian Crichton's guitar playing, so kind of combination of that Saga prog hard rock pop sound mixed in with the Saxon sound, and I don't know what else, but the videos I watched, the music I heard sounded great, so I've got 6x6 on the list. And Lobate Scarp, You Have It All. Yeah, and in fact, because I'm in touch with Peter Matukniak, the guitarist, I took a look at Bandcamp. I saw the shipping rates were through the roof. I contacted Peter directly. He's going to fix me up for something a little bit more reasonable. Thank you always, Peter Matukniak. Awesome. Okay, a couple of extra ones here. Fren, All the Pretty Things. I had to hunt around a bit for it because it seemed it was only available as a download through Amazon and whatever, but I managed to find where I can get it for normal CD pricing. And Big Big Train, Welcome to the Planet. Yeah, as I said, I'm not like a huge Big Big Train fan. I have 3 albums, but this one here, I think it's going to be worth my time to listen to it. Okay, moving over to the metal side. Black Braid, self-titled album, Black Braid 1 anyway. I liked what I heard. Did sound like typical black metal sound, but it also had these intermittent tracks of acoustic guitar and woodwinds and so on. The guy is a Native American guy, so I'm thinking he's bringing an original twist to the black metal sound. I'm interested. I want to hear it. Spirit World, Death Western. This was awesome. This was like thrash metal where the vocals are a little bit more coarser and rougher, but it had all these like little western sounding bits put in and clips from TV shows and movies and whatever. Sounded really cool. That one's on the list. Summerland, Dream Killer, just checked it out. Very nice. It's nothing new to me, but it just sounded really good, and of all the kind of traditional metal styles I checked out, that one just had the most appeal to me. So Summerland, Dream Killer. Wilder Run, the progressive metal band. As you saw when I was watching the videos, I was just really taken in by all the acoustics. There's an ambulance over there. I don't know if you can hear it. Anyway, Epigon, and I love the cover art. I love the music that I heard. I just felt like after the first 10-15 seconds, I was just ready to just go to Amazon and order it. Good luck to you. All right, Sadist, Fire Scorched. Again, we're talking about extreme metal here, but there was a sound to it, the opening track and a couple of other parts I heard. There was just something that was different about it. It was something I hadn't heard before in that kind of style of metal, so I thought, let's check them out. I heard that they did a lot of really good albums. The last one was maybe not as good as some of the earlier ones, but that this new one here, Fire Scorched, is a really good one. And what I heard I liked, so it's on the list. I'm going to have to order it through Bandcamp, unfortunately, but anyway. Vital Spirit, Still as the Night, Cold as the Wind. The two of the guys out of Wormwitch in Vancouver. Lots of praise, 3 different people including it on their list for top albums of the year. I really liked what I heard. Again, a very kind of extreme, rich, melodic death metal style, but with these other things put in, which makes it just more interesting and full of surprises. So really cool. That is 6 from the metal list. One other one, Amorphous, Halo. I have Amorphous' debut. I've always considered getting another one, but there just hasn't been the right album to make me think, yeah, that's it. But this one here sounded pretty good, so it is on my list. There you have it. Okay then, the sun, it is just heading over the tops of the mountains now, and we are coming to the close of the final daylight period of 2022. What a year. Anyway, I'd like to say thanks to everybody who has watched my videos this year. Special thanks to the people who took the time to comment. Really appreciate it. If you liked my videos, that's awesome. Don't get a lot of views, don't usually get a lot of likes, so I really appreciate any time somebody takes a little bit of time to view and leave a thumbs up and so on. That's great. I don't ask you to subscribe. I don't ask you to do all those things that everybody else is doing because I'm not making a living off of YouTube. This is just for fun. Okay, I've got a huge list of ideas for the coming year, so I'm going to be really busy. I appreciate anybody who's going to watch any of those. Have a great new year. By the time you see this, it's probably already 2023. Wishing everyone the best in 2023. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. See you in the new year. Bye.